Hey everybody, today is Monday, September 14th, and this is the review recap, just in case we're missing today for some reason. I do want to go through a couple quick things with you about this week. First of all, it is a 5-day week, the first one of the year, so I will be seeing you guys every day and recording these videos every day for you. The second thing I wanted to go through with you is we did take a quiz in class on Friday last week. There were a few of you guys who weren't in class. Please make sure that you do go in and take that quiz. That is going to be graded and put in the grade book. And also, there were a few of you guys that were in class on Friday who didn't complete, submit, take. I'm not sure what happened, the quiz. Please do remember that, we're in high school now, and we need to make sure that we're taking care of our stuff in order to be successful. Yeah, and if you have questions about the quiz or how you can find the quiz, it's actually in the video from 9/11 that will be down below in Classroom. That's posted down below. Make sure you go to that Google Classroom and check that out. Otherwise, if you're having problems, please, I'm here, man. I'm here to help, and I want you guys to be successful. But I don't even know that you need help unless you reach out to me. So please reach out, ask for help. So today, I'm going to go into share mode with you guys here, and we're going to go through a couple of slides of notes and discuss what this week's going to look like a little bit. So here we go. All right, first of all, our organization slide today. We already kind of discussed the quiz from last week. If you took it, I'm going to be posting those grades here in the very near future, mostly 3s, a couple 2s. But you guys did a really great job on those. We're going to be doing a quick review of a couple of things here when we get to the end of this slide. By the end of class today, my hope is that you can discuss the impacts that the Black Codes had on life in the South for different groups of people. And we're going to spend a little bit more time looking at the problems between Johnson and Congress and how those kind of started to come to a head over a couple of laws. I'm also going to run through an assignment, the assignment for the week that's due on Thursday, and show you guys how to do that because it's kind of a new, I think it's a new tool for you guys called the ThingLink. And then on Friday, we're going to take a test. It's going to probably be like 4 or 5 short essays. When I say short essay, I'm talking like a paragraph or maybe a little bit more or a little bit less. And there'll be 4 or 5 of them, and I'm going to have you I'm going to have you pick 3. So you're going to be able to eliminate a couple that you don't feel great about. Okay, so those are kind of the goals for today's class and what I'm hoping that you get out of it. Now, a couple quick review questions, and I'm going to ask you these and see if you guys can remember these. But a couple things I want you guys to remember for today are that when Lincoln was assassinated by John Wilkes Booth, who took over for him? That person was Andrew Johnson. And Andrew Johnson was a Southerner. He was from Tennessee, and he was a Democrat, which made him different than most of the members of Congress who were Republicans from the North. The second thing I want you guys to think about is what were the Black Codes? What did they accomplish? What was the hope of why Southerners passed them? Let you think on that for a second here. So the Black Codes were laws that were passed by Southern states to restrict the rights of freedmen or the newly freed slaves. They attempted to do things like restrict pay to freedmen, make their rights less than those of the white people who ran the South. It was basically just another version of slavery minus the ownership. And so those two things are really important to what we're going to talk about today as we go through these couple of slides. Now, again, if you have a notebook or if you have your computer, if you've been taking notes on your computer, you probably want to write these next couple of slides down. Warning, whoop, whoop, whoop. There's a little bit of government-heavy topic stuff on the second slide. So let's make sure we're getting down some of these ideas and understanding. Again, if you have questions, please feel free to chat me or email me and ask. All right, so Black Codes were passed all over Southern states. Now, if you're wondering, what about Hispanic people and Asian people? See, what was life like in the South for them? Generally, there weren't a lot of Hispanic and Asian people in the American Deep South. Those people would have all lived in kind of the southwestern or western part of the country. And actually, we'll get to that in the next chapter to talk about what happened to those groups of people. But in the South, the minority group or the group that was trying to be kept out of power were Black people, the former slaves, the freedmen. And so when those Black Codes were passed to restrict their rights and freedoms, there were some repercussions to that. Obviously, you're a former slave. You've been told you're free. What you're hoping for, I would think, is equality. You're hoping to be, the same as the other people around you, to be afforded the same rights and freedoms. And that wasn't the case. The Black Codes were very restricting. They were very much designed to segregate society and make the lives of the African Americans difficult. And so there wasn't a lot that freedmen could do. They didn't have elected officials that looked like them at the beginning of Reconstruction. They didn't have people that would advocate for them in the southern states. Yes, in the federal government, sure, but not in their home states of Mississippi and Alabama and Louisiana and Texas and places like that. There was nobody to speak up for them. And so what they started to do is they started to hold public meetings to discuss what they could do. And so Black leaders got together with Black citizens, and they started to discuss ways that they could try to influence the laws or change them. Unfortunately, when the Southern white leaders got hold of these ideas, they passed a Black code that made it illegal for Black people to meet. More than 10 in a room at a time, unless they were family members, became illegal, and you could be arrested or ticketed for that. And so Black leaders started to hold secret meetings in secret locations at off hours to try to make sure that they had an ability to meet and discuss their problems. Unfortunately, a lot of those meetings were found out. People were arrested and tickets were issued. And in extreme cases, far worse. In 1868 in Biloxi, Mississippi, a group of Black people attempted to meet in an all-Black church one evening at around midnight. The sheriff of the town got a hold of this information, and rather than going in and arresting a bunch of people or ticketing them, he notified the local chapter of the KKK, who then nailed the building shut basically with the people inside and torched the building, resulting in the deaths of over 100 people. Obviously, these Black codes outrage Congress in the North. The radical Republicans who are mostly in charge are irritated by the fact that their efforts to gain equality for the freedmen are being met with such hard resistance in the South. And so they push for equal rights and full voting privileges in their laws. Unfortunately, although they had the best intentions, they were unsuccessful in getting these things passed right away due to some resistance in Congress, but also a resistance in enforcement and application in the South. Now, this problem pushes the southern states further away from readmission of the Union, further away from having representation in government, and further away from being considered an official state again. And it also slows Reconstruction. There's a reason why Reconstruction lasts from 1865 to 1877, and part of it is just the dramatic back and forth between the northern government and the southern state governments, which is almost like a political continuation of the Civil War. Now, our second and final slide today, and I'll show you guys how the assignment works, is about President Johnson basically openly fighting Congress about how they think this should all play out. So Johnson uses his power of veto to try to strike down two major Congress ideas and laws. Now, for you guys that don't know, Congress, which is the Senate and the House of Representatives' primary job, is to pass laws. However, when they vote yes on a law, it then goes to the president. I'm just a bill. Apparently, like you guys didn't get exposed to this, but it was an old cartoon that played between cartoons on Saturday mornings where they told you how a bill becomes a law. Congress passes a law. It doesn't just become a law. It has to go to the president. The president has two options at that point. They can sign it, and if they sign it, it becomes an official law, which people in the country have to follow, or they can veto it. They actually have a red stamp that says veto, poof. They hit it with the thing, and then it does not become a law. We'll talk about what happens at that point in a minute. Two major ideas that Johnson didn't like. He didn't like the Freedmen's Bureau. The Freedmen's Bureau was designed to help needy whites and blacks get an education and also protect them from discrimination and provide equality. Johnson did not really believe that freedmen were equal to him. He didn't think they should be afforded the same rights and privileges as other white people, and so he vetoed that idea. Congress also in 1866 passed the Civil Rights Act. The Civil Rights Act was a legal attempt to eliminate the Black codes by giving equality to African American men, where they would be given the same protection under the law. He vetoed that again because he didn't think equality was a thing. Now, going back to our government review, When the president vetoes a law, there are a number of things that can happen. That law can just die. People can decide they don't want to fight it any longer. It can go back to Congress and they can rewrite it and attempt to do it again. Or Congress can override. That's a very important vocabulary word in that second bullet, override. I would highly advise you to underline it, to highlight it, to draw stars around it, do it in a different color pen. And let me give you the definition. An override is where 2/3, again, very important, 2/3 of the members of Congress vote to pass a law without the president's signature. Again, one more time, slow. 2/3 of the members of Congress vote to pass a law without a presidential signature. Do you think those are common? They aren't. And the reason for that is pretty simple. It's really hard to get 2/3 of people to agree on anything, much less 2/3 of politicians to agree on a law, especially when we live in a system with two political parties with two differing viewpoints. And so Congress does get to 2/3 on this one, and they override his veto of the Civil Rights Act, making citizenship and equality a law. The problem is laws aren't always enforced well, and laws aren't permanent. And so Congress attempts to take more permanent action by passing the 14th Amendment. Whoop, whoop, whoop. This is a good time to review. The 13th Amendment officially freed the slaves. The 14th Amendment provides them with citizenship, and the 15th Amendment gives all men of various colors, except Native American people, the right to vote. So Congress tries to take more permanent action by passing the 14th Amendment and trying to provide citizenship to the freedmen and people of various races around the country. Johnson did not want this to pass for reasons that we've beaten into the ground earlier in the slide, and so he campaigns against it. He actually knows the North is going to vote for it, so he tells southern states to vote against it. All of them do except for Tennessee, which is ironic because Johnson is from Tennessee. The 14th Amendment passes with the support of the northern states and of Tennessee and becomes an official constitutional amendment, thus making all people, regardless of color, citizens. The problem is going to be enforcement and what is going to happen with life in the South next. By the way, Tennessee is readmitted as a state at this point. Their reward for going along with the North is they get their representatives in government and they get their star back on the flag. Now, that's the end of the notes for today. Please feel free to stop and pause and go back if you need to get things down. But I do want to show you the assignment for the day and how that works. And so I'm going to go to Classroom quick here. I'm back. Hi. How you doing? Here's all the pretty. You can have it back. There you go. I'm going to go to Classroom for the day. I'm going to go to 4A's Classroom. And I'm going to show you how this works. Okay, you're going to click on this, and it's going to take me to the instructions in a second. There we go. And it says, please use the link provided to access the ThingLink in order to answer the questions about life in the Reconstruction South. Pay attention during this demo, replay it if you have to, and ask questions about how to use the image. Now, when you click on this, you're going to pull up a doc that is going to look like this. It's going to get that banner on the top, and it says using the ThingLink and there's a link. Answer the following questions about life in the American South after the Civil War. And there are 8 questions. Each question kind of tells you what link it goes with. But if you click on that link, you should go to this thing called a ThingLink. A ThingLink is a picture that has embedded links in it. Now, if you hover over the ThingLink, you're going to see different colored dots pop up, including this red one that's kind of buried in the corner here. And what you do is you hover over them and you can click on them and it will take you to different things. For instance, if you click on this one, it goes to a picture called This White Man's Government. And then there's an explanation of that below. I'm kind of dangling off the screen there. And it shows you how to use that. Now, you're going to use the links in the ThingLink to answer the questions below. For instance, here's what they call simple Wikipedia, and you're going to use that to answer questions in things. I tried to be specific, like for instance, in the first question, it says use the brief history of the KKK for this one and the next one. It says in a political cartoon, this white man's government. This is a white man's government. So you're going to use this ThingLink below, ThingLink linked to access the information you need for the questions. Again, please test it out. It's due on Thursday by midnight, but don't wait till the afternoon on Thursday to figure out you don't know how to do it. please chat me or email me with any questions. I'm here to help. I want to help. I get so bored in the afternoon. Please ask me for help. Please. All right. It's good to see you guys. Hope to see you soon. Hope you're well. Hope your family's well.